Erev Tov, everyone, and welcome to the House of Seven Beggars. It is Wednesday night. It is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here in the diaspora. Of course, this is the House of Seven Beggars, and therefore it must be the Torah study with Rabbi A and Reb Reuven. And let me bring Reb Reuven in right now. I've got to push that button. And then I have to push that button. And then I have to grab that window. And there he is, if he will put his head up.
Hello.
Got a good shot of the top of your head, so there we go. Okay. Let me just adjust this a little bit so we can get your picture up there. There we go. Okay.
If I break the camera, it's your fault.
Yeah. It's your camera.
Well, yeah, still.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I am wearing a suit coat tonight. It is cold in the studio. Okay, so in the chat room we have Guy who is kvetching that it's one below where he is, and isn't that cute? Huh? Isn't that cute? One below. I think it was 7 or 8 below when I walked into the studio, and we're heading for something like 13 below tonight, and with wind chills of minus 30. So, okay, so now I got that done with. Miles has joined us, Stephen has joined us, Marshall is here, Kelsey Lynn, and more to come. Okay. Yeah, this weather's been brutal. Hope everybody is.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I hope everybody is staying warm, or as warm as they
Especially
can.
Especially the way to start the new year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean we had a pretty decent winter all in all. We didn't have a lot of snow or anything like that. We did get some cold snaps, but nothing like this. I mean, we got the cold and we got the snow. So
Hey,
like a twofer.
there you go. 2 for 1.
2 for 1, exactly. Okay, so we left off the last time. We are in the Sefer Bereshit. We are in the Parsha Vayetze, and this is chapter 29, and we left off at verse 15. So, before we start, of course, we're studying the Torah, so we will begin with the blessings for the study of Torah. Marshall says it's 25 degrees in Alabama. I've got a comment, but I'm not going to say it. Okay, anyway. So.
Is Danny Gale down there?
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I haven't heard anybody talk about Danny Gale in a long time.
For those of you who are wondering who we're talking about, he's a cantor, and the last we heard, he was a cantor in Alabama.
A very good cantor, as a matter of fact.
Yes, he is. He went down there with a bagel on his knee.
He was the cantor for the synagogue in Bay City. That was what was the synagogue in Bay City?
Temple of Beth Israel.
Was
it either Bethel or Beth Israel, one of the two?
Or was it Congregation Beth Israel? They were conservative, right? Yeah.
That's right, it was Congregation, yes.
Yeah, Congregation Beth Israel in Bay City. Gorgeous shul. He was the cantor there for many years. For a long time, they didn't have a rabbi, and he took on many of the rabbinical duties. Marvelous voice. We were all very sorry to see him leave. But, yeah, it happens. So,
That's right.
Okay, so let's pick up where we left off, chapter 29, verse 15. Now, you know,
Okay.
Yaakov is already left. He's come into the land. He's met Rachel, and he's
Uh,
now come to Lavan.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So verse 15. Then Lavan said to Yaakov, "Is that your? Is it? Is it that you are my brother? That you should work for me without charge?" Okay. Tell me, what are your wages? Okay, so he was invited to stay with them for a month's time. And during that month's time, he was tending Lavan's flocks and stuff. And Lavan has just finally come and said, it's not fair that you serve me for free. Okay, so
Right.
Rashi says, is it that you are my brother? It is an expression of astonishment, i.e., a question as if to say, is it because you are my brother that you should work for me without charge? Okay? That you should work for me. This has the same meaning as, and it's another phrase, we're going to get another grammar lesson. Similarly, and with any words which in the past tense add a vav at the beginning, as it changes the word from future to the future tense. Okay. For whatever that's worth. Okay. So,
Well, they lived in tents.
pardon?
They lived in tents.
Yeah. So the further commentary says this is in relation to it. Is it that you are my brother? Where Rashi also explains Haki as introducing a question, unlike Ibn Ezra there, who explains it as indeed. The further commentary related to that you should work for me, Rashi points out, okay, here we go with the whole grammar thing again, that the vav prefix serves to change its tense from the past to future. Although the converse vav has already appeared numerous times in Scripture at this point without drawing comment from Rashi. Rashi mentions it here because it is usually vowelized with a shiva. Here, however, because the first letter of the word is vowelized with a chataf, petach, the equivalent to a shiva, the vav cannot take a shiva from the word, for a word cannot begin with two shivas, but takes a petach instead. Rashi, I'm glad I didn't have Rashi for a language teacher, I'll tell you. The Rome edition reads so and so, has the same meaning as such and such without the vav prefix. The text, the Al-Kabetz edition, and yada 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 yada. Okay. So we're not going to get into all the grammar and everything.
Well, that was in the Michigan Talmud.
What's that? The yada 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 yada?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so there is no commentary on 16, so we'll go right from 16 into 17. 16 says, Lavan had two daughters. The name of the older one was Leah, and the name of the younger one was Rachel. Leah's eyes were, well, I'm skipping ahead to 17 now. Leah's eyes were tender, while Rachel was beautiful of form and beautiful of appearance. Okay.
Here we go. Here's where I come in with the midrash.
Okay, so let's get Rashi out of the way first. Tender. For she was under the impression that she was destined to ascend to the lot of Esau. In other words, to become Esau's wife. And she would cry because everybody would say, Rivka has uh, Rivka has two sons, and Lavan has two daughters, the elder daughter for the elder son, and the younger daughter for the younger son. Form. It is the shape of the face. It is linguistically related to um, another group of words, and he shapes it with a saw. Why would you even? That's really a jump, isn't it? He shapes it with a saw. Okay.
He
Okay.
shaped what with the saw?
It doesn't give a reference to where it comes from. Well, hang on. Wait. Isaiah 44:13. Uh, the French words. Oh, compas or compas, circle, that appears in most contemporary editions. Compas is obviously an interpolation by the copyist or printer who was familiar with Rashi's commentary to Isaiah. However, Rashi here uses compas form, which is the English word compass, or from which the English word compass is derived, for the Hebrew word mechugeh in the verse. Consequently, the word has no relevance to our verse. Okay. Okay, so appearance, it is the luster of the countenance. The further commentary says that Torah denotes the features of the face. Mara denotes the complexion. Okay, so you have the floor.
No, the trouble is, Rashi beat me to it.
Okay.
All, all I was going to mention was that Leah was given the gift of prophecy because she was foretold that she was supposed to marry Esau, as was the custom, and she cried every night
Right.
because the rumors about Esau, being less than honorable, had already spread throughout, the region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
so
made a point that Leah was a prophetess. Rashi doesn't actually go into that, doesn't actually state that, but there is midrashim that actually talk about Leah being a prophetess.
yeah, I mean, Leah was told she knew, or she did, or she knew that was what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. But she also knew that her last child, Dinah, was originally going to be a boy.
Okay,
And she prayed to Hashem to change the boy to a girl so that she wouldn't shame her sister.
yeah. See, Leah wasn't as bad a person. People like to make her out to be such a harsh woman. She really wasn't all that bad.
No, actually, she was she was actually uh, a very nice woman. I mean, she everything her she does a lot of things for her sister.
Yes,
That we're going to find out about, that she doesn't want her sister to be shamed. So she
right.
does things to keep her sister from being shamed and to kind of, yes, she wants to be the favorite wife and so on and so forth, but she does not want her sister to be, shamed in front of everybody else. So I
Right.
see Dennis has joined us and Mary has joined us. So, okay.
Okay. I yield.
Okay, so yes, Leah was a prophetess. Leah was a very righteous woman. I would, and I hate to say this, but I think Leah was actually a more righteous than Rivka. Or Rachel,
Then
I'm
who?
sorry, than
Oh,
Rachel,
then,
than her sister.
yeah, then her sister.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. I no, I can see an argument for that,
Yeah.
especially when it came, especially when it came to giving her handmaidens, to Yaakov, because she knew she couldn't bear anymore,
Right.
and Rachel couldn't. But so it's not to shame anybody, and to keep Yaakov happy, she gave her
Mm-hmm.
two handmaidens. So really, you can't. No, I can go along with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's several instances, and we'll kind of talk about them as we get to them. But that's always been my opinion, and a lot of people actually ask me, like, when we talk about the patriarchs and the matriarchs, you know, say Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah is normally how it goes. And people always say, why do I always put Leah before Rivka, or before Rachel? And that's because number one, that's the order they're in. That's the actual order that they're actually in, because Leah was married to Yaakov before Rachel was. But also because she was more righteous than Rachel. But that's my opinion. So that's why when you hear me say Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel, that's why it is. It's basically because that is the order that they actually became matriarchs.
Hmm.
Okay, so uh, verse 18, Yaakov loved Rachel, so he said, I will work for you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. Okay, Rashi goes on to say, I will work for you 7 years. They are the few days that his mother mentioned to him when she said, and dwell with him for a few days. You can know with certainty that this is so, for now we see it is written, and they seem to him like a few days, which is in the next verse. For Rachel, your younger daughter. Why all of these signs? Because Yaakov knew of Lavan, that he was a fraud.
Yeah.
To put it mildly, he said to him, I will work for you for Rachel. And you might say that that the agreement is for some other Rachel, from the marketplace. The verse says,
Sure.
your daughter. And if you might say, I will change Leah's name and I will name her Rachel, the verse says, the younger. And despite this, all the precautions did not help, for Lavan deceived him. Okay, so yeah, Lavan was he's quite a character. Um,
Rabbi Miles always said that was the one character of the Bible he did not like. He,
Lavan,
yeah, he always said Laban to him was worse than a Malak, worse than than Ahab, just worse than Pharaoh. To him, Laban was the one. He did not like Laban.
well, yeah, I mean, he just basically
Well,
he
yeah,
lied right to his face every time you turn around, he's lying right to somebody's face. It's one thing if a guy's going to stab you in the back. It's another thing if he's clad handing you in the front with a dagger in your back. Let's see, we've got Okay. Let's see. We're going to give somebody the boot here.
Well, no matter how we dislike it, he is our ancestor.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we can't help that.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got our little troublemaker in the chat room taken care of.
We got our skeleton.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on to verse 19 now. There's no commentary on 19 or 20, so we'll go from 19 to right into 21. So Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than I give her to another man. Remain with me." Verse 20, so Yaakov worked 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him a few days because of his love for her. Verse 21, Yaakov said to Laban, "Deliver my wife, for my term is fulfilled, and I will come to her." Okay, so Rashi says, literally, my days have become fulfilled. Just make sure I'm not missing something here. Okay. The days which my mother said to me, and furthermore, my term is fulfilled. In the sense that, see now, I am 84 years old, and when will I establish 12 tribes if I do not get married now? This is why he said, "And I will come to her." But it is not true that the lightest of the light, i.e., the most vulgar person, does not speak so. But he said so with the intent to beget offspring. Okay, so the further commentary says the days are to be taken to refer to the few days of Rebecca's remarks to Yaakov. Rashi does not understand "my days are filled" as referring to Yaakov's term of labor, as Targum Onkelos does, because it would have been obvious to Lavan, and Yaakov would not need to mention it. And then finally, this one is referred to back to, okay, so with the intent to beget offspring, from Bereshit Rabbah 70:18, it is only shameful to speak so if one has sensual pleasures in mind. Yaakov's intention was purely to father children.
Well, but then his math was off because his grandfather was 100.
Oh, when he begat children?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm just saying it was good enough for Grandpa, you know. And I forget how old Isaac was when he, begat, or when Rivka, begat the children. But he wasn't no spring chicken either.
That's true. That's true. They did.
So I'm just saying that Yaakov's intentions may have been good, but he still had at least a good 16 years on him.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that, he's every bit of man as Abraham.
Okay, so there's no commentary on 22, 23, or 24. So we'll go right into 25. So, well.
So these guys wore themselves out on the commentary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's nothing. Wait till we get to 27. There is a lot of commentary on that.
Okay.
Okay, so 22. So Lavan gathered all the people of the place and made a feast. And it was in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he came to her. 24. And Laban gave her Zilpah, his maidservant, to Leah, his daughter, as a maidservant. 25. And it was in the morning, and behold, it was Leah. So he said to Laban, "What is this that you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I worked for you? Why have you deceived me?" Okay, so Rashi says, referring to 25, it was in the morning, and behold, it was Leah. But at night, Yaakov assumed that she was not Leah. Now, there's also, let's see, there's also a midrash that says that Leah and Rachel were almost like twins. They look very, very similar, except for the weak eyes. Yes.
Well, there's another midrash that says that that Rachel offered herself in Leah's place, but Leah said, "No, our father will beat us or beat you or whatever. Let me get it over with, or whatever."
Okay, so Rashi goes on to say, okay, so Yaakov assumed that she was not Leah. In other words, that she was Rachel. Because Yaakov had given signs to Rachel by which she could identify herself to him. But
and she taught this to Leah, according to a midrash.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. This is another, point where, for Leah. But when, it kind of goes to both their favors. Because Raquel does love her sister.
Yes,
and she doesn't want to see her sister shamed by having the younger one married before the older one. So
Rachel is righteous, but she's also shows her humanity later on.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, that's only normal. I mean, sisters can be loving and everything, but as we see, they're acting like sisters.
Yeah.
As we read further.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary.
So Yaakov gives signs to Rachel by which she could identify herself to him. In other words, he still doesn't trust Laban. But when she saw that they were taking Leah to him, she said, "Now my sister will be humiliated." She therefore arose and gave her those signs. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So no commentary on 26, so we'll go to 27. Laban said, "Such is not done in our place, to give the younger before the elder." 27. Complete the week of this one, and we will give you this one too for the work. Okay, so Rashi's commentary, a lot of commentary on this one.
Okay. Yeah, because if you notice that's their custom, but as we know, Isaac without Ishmael, Yaakov without Esau, where Jacob or Yaakov comes from, the younger takes over the elder.
That in the case of the males, yeah, that is true.
So Laban in this case, even though he may be stretching a point, he could be actually honest for once, because that probably was the custom of the land.
That's probably true. Yeah. Shoshi has joined us. Good to see you, Shoshi.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
So Rashi says, complete the week of this one. The word Shavua is attached, i.e., in its construct form, for it is vowelized with a chataf, Rashi's term for a shiva. It means the week of this one, not this week. And they are the 7 days of festivity following a marriage. This is found in the Talmud Yerushalayim in Moed Katan, which is okay. So let's had it not being construct. See Tergamakulas. Okay, Yerushalayim, Moed Katan 1:7. The Rome edition here adds the words. Oh my goodness! For here we see that we do not mix one celebration with another. Breshit Rabbah 7019. See also Moed Katan, folio 8b, 9a. Yaakov had to postpone marrying Rachel until the conclusion of the festivities of his marriage to Leah. Mizrahi notes that this is an asmachata, an allusion to the law rather than a genuine source, for we cannot take the practices of Lavan as a halachic model. Got that?
Yeah, I got that because I keep thinking, what happens if you're born during a holiday? I know several people born during Pesach and during Hanukkah. And so do you have to postpone their celebration?
Well, and well, like what he's saying here is that you can't set halakha by Lavan's words here. However, we know that there are certain festivals and holidays that there are other mitzvot that we do not perform because we don't want to intrude on the festival. So like on like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, the other holidays where we don't put on tefillin. We don't put on tefillin because it would interpose on the festival.
Right, okay.
Okay, so just throwing it out there. Let's see. It is impossible to say that it means actually a week, for if so, the shin should have been vowelized with a patak, Rashi's term for our kamatz. And furthermore, we see that Shavuot must be in construct form with zot, because the word Shavuot is masculine. As it is written, you shall count 7 weeks for yourself. Using the masculine Shavuot 7, Levichach. Therefore, the word Shavuot here means nothing but a 7-day period. And then we're going to get into Old French. Okay. And we will give you, this is plural, like let us descend and confuse, and let us burn. This too means and we will give.
Okay.
Yes?
I got a minor question related to all this. Was Isaac and Rivka at the wedding, or were they dead?
No, there's nothing in here that says they were, but he returns to his father.
Okay.
Okay, so there's nothing in here that would indicate why. Do you have a midrash that talks about that?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I was just thinking, and then all of a sudden it's like, we don't know what happened to Yitzchak, we don't know what happened to Rivka, but we know it's almost like they were written out of the story, like that their lives are no longer important. now let's move on. But you would think that Yaakov would have taken, Leah or Rachel to meet them, or
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Well, he couldn't, though.
Well, I
Esau
know
was,
Esau was about
Esau
to
was
kill
still
him.
hot on his trail.
Well,
Okay.
that's true too. But they, okay.
Okay. And he will give this one to, continuing, immediately after the 7 days of festivity. And you will work after her marriage. Okay. Let's catch up with all this extra commentary here. That is a calendar week beginning with Sunday and ending with Saturday, which is a calendar week rather than the 7-day period for the festival. Had Lavan meant that, irrespective of how many days of the festivity of Leah's marriage had elapsed, they should wait until the end of the week, i.e., after Saturday. The word for week should not have appeared in construct form, which it does. For a fixed week of the calendar cannot be associated with specific people. The vowelations, Shavua, with the Shiva indicates that it is the construct which associates it with Zot, this one. It thus cannot mean standard calendar week. Okay. If the verse meant to say this week, it would have used Shavua, Zeh, with the masculine adjective Zeh, instead of the feminine adjective Zot. Okay. So, and it's gonna keep going on and talking about Shavua and Shiva and okay. Old French, yeah, we don't care about Old French. We're not Old French.
Or Old Spice.
Yeah. It says commentary is following rules of Hebrew grammar. Okay. Targum Onkelos, to understand Rashi's comment, it is necessary to know the following rules of Hebrew grammar. I tell you, I would have loathed to have Rashi as a language teacher. Simple active verbs are conjunctive in the kal. Simple passive verbs in the nifal. Verb roots that begin with the letter nun are called hasrei, missing the first root letter nun. Verbs became because they often drop that letter in many conjunctions, such as in the nifal. The prefix nun is used to indicate the nifal from, and it follows that the initial nun appearing in the nifal form is the root beginning of a nun. With a nun is the prefix, not the root letter. Whew. To indicate that, are you taking notes on this?
Here's what kills me though, is that nun is usually a suffix more than
Right.
a prefix.
True. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's an unusual case of grammar, but all right.
To indicate the initial root letter has been dropped, a dagesh is placed in the second letter of the root. The suffix hey is used to indicate third person feminine singular past tense. And the prefix vav is the converse. Vav is the that transforms the past tense to the future tense. Okay, I hope you're all paying attention and taking notes. Based on these rules, the word V'nitna may be analyzed as follows: the first nun and the dagesh in the tav indicates that nifal rules D and E And hey indicates the third person feminine singular past tense, and the vav prefix changes the word into the future tense. Thus, the word venitna may be translated she or it will be given, as it indeed means, going to the next page in Jeremiah 38:18, and as Rashbam understands it here. Rashi, however, rejects this analysis because the word et that precedes zot, this one, indicates that zot is the object of an active verb, not a passive nifal. Rather, like the word adduced by Rashi, the word is in the active kal, and the bet prefix, the vav prefix, is the conjunctive vav and means and. The first nun indicates a first person plural future tense. The word v'nitna then means and we will give, and should have been spelled vav nun tet final nun sofit as in 34:21. However, or below, however, as is the case with the words adduced by Rashi, the hey is superfluous, is a superfluous suffix that serves no grammatical function. The addition of that hey also causes the changed vowelation of the word.
Okay.
Did you get all that?
You know what scares me is I understood 90% of it. And that's what scares me.
Yeah. Good for you.
Because you know what helps? You know what helps?
What's that?
Is the prayer we say before we take the Torah back in the ark, V'zos HaTorah, because you're using the verb zos. This is.
Yeah.
And so, and that's used for, this is the present, tense. Here I almost sound like these guys again, but anyway, the singular present tense. Well, anyway, I use that as a guideline. It works.
That's true. Okay, now you said was vazos. Okay, which is the difference between Ashkenazic Hebrew and Sephardic Hebrew?
Yes, I know. I jump back and forth between Litvak.
Well, I'm just clarifying it for people that are listening so that they know when we're talking about vazot and you say vazos, it's because of the Ashkenazic pronunciation. They pronounce the tav as an S sound.
Prior to the 6 Day War, almost every Hebrew school taught Ashkenazic Hebrew.
That's true.
And then all of a sudden, in active Zionism, you can always tell who's old school and who's not, because it's like after the 6 Day War, they switched over to Sephardic.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So I was in between the two.
You're just old school, right?
Yes, and that's why I switched back and forth.
Yeah, Reuven's an old G.
That's me. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's check what's going on in the chat room. Dennis says Yaakov had married. Both sisters. Is that not against Torah? Was Torah in force during the period? Oh, that the prohibition against taking. Well, it depends on how you interpret the law.
I'm thinking the levirate marriage well, one's got to be dead first, then you marry the sister or whatever. But
Right, but the law actually says, doesn't the law actually say you shall not take a sister with her sister?
actually, actually, what happens is that all happened later on because of Solomon, because of what Solomon did. And Solomon married too many women. He built idols and temples to their gods, and so from then on, you know, this was rabbinic law, was that you should not take more than you know than one wife, or I don't remember if
If
they actually set the
i-
number to one, but
if I'm
like
remembering correctly, what the Torah is referring to and what Dennis is actually talking about, that the the law is it's against sexual perversion, taking both sisters at the same time together, which the Torah
right,
forbids.
but that doesn't come to Leviticus.
Right.
So
But
up
I don't
until
think it's actually referring to that you can't marry one sister and then marry another sister. I think it's against the prohibition is against having sexual relations with two at the same time.
okay,
Okay, so I mean that's my interpretation on
good enough for me.
it. We shall find out when we get to that part, which will probably be in a couple of years. Then we can discuss it again.
Yeah, well, because remember that night when it was so cold out and we were talking about this?
Yeah, remember it was freezing out and we were complaining about the weather and everything. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
It was a dark and stormy
it was a
night.
dark and
It was
stormy night.
it was festooned with snow.
Yeah, good point. Okay, we are at our halfway point. We're going to go ahead and take our break. Reb Reuven, if you would
Yes,
kindly mute
indeed.
yourself, I would appreciate that. And I'm going to
Yeah.
click here, and then I'm going to click here. Okay, so we are going to take our 6 minute break now, and then we'll return. I better put my bookmark in here so I don't lose my place, and we'll get back to finding out what's bothering Rashi. So, everybody, please stay tuned.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 5 minutes. The show starts in 4 minutes. start in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. The show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
Okay, and we are back. So let's bring Reb Reuven back in here. That button. I'm getting pretty good at this.
This button work?
Yeah. There we go. Okay. You still there? I'm not hearing you. Did you mute yourself again?
Yes, I did.
Oh, there
by
you go.
accident.
Okay, you're back.
I am?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I don't know how, but okay.
Hey, as long as you're back, right?
That's right. I'll
Okay.
take it.
So, we're now on to verse 28. There is no commentary on 28 or 29, so we'll go right from there to 30. So Yaakov did so, and he completed the week for her, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to him as a wife. 29. And Lavan gave Bilhah, his maidservant, to Rachel, his daughter, to her as a maidservant. 30. He also came to Rachel. And loved Rachel even more than Leah, and he worked for him further another 7 years. Okay. Rashi says further another 7 years. the word Herod, another, the verse compares the second 7 years to the first ones, just as the first ones were carried out in good faith, so too the latter ones carried out in good faith, even though Laban had come against Yaakov with deceit. Okay, so the further commentary on that one says, Bereshit Rabbah 70:20, since the verse had already stated od further, the word herot, another, is redundant. It is stated to indicate that the latter 7 years were comparable to the first 7, in that Yaakov performed his work honestly during both periods. Okay. No commentary on 31, so we'll go right into 32. Hashem saw that Leah was unloved, and he opened her womb, but Rachel remained barren. 32. Leah conceived and bore a son and called his name Reuven, as she had said, because Hashem has discerned my humiliation, for now my husband will love me. Okay. So Rashi says, and she called his name Reuven. Our rabbis explain, she said, Ra'uma ben Beni. See what is the difference between my son, Levan Hamid, and the son of my father-in-law, who sold the right of the firstborn to Yaakov. But this son of mine will not sell his right of the firstborn to Yosef, and did not protest over Yosef, but rather he sought to extricate him from the pit. Okay, it's going to happen a little further along. Okay, so the further commentary on this one, Esau despised the birthright, sold it to Yaakov. Reuben, on the other hand, saw his birthright taken from him and bestowed upon Yosef. Nevertheless, he not only did not protest, he even tried to save Yosef from his brother's plot. As it regards, he sought to extract him from the pit. From Berachot, folio 7b, the reason for the name Reuven given by the verse explains why seeing is part of the name, but it does not explain why Ben, son, is part of it, nor does it explain why seeing is expressed by the plural imperative Reuven, right? In contrast to Shimon, whose name refers to hearing, but does not include the imperative. Rashi explains that through the name, Leah urged others to see her son. Furthermore, with the other sons, Scripture gives the reason for the name before stating, and she called his name. Here the verse mentions the calling of the name before the reason to indicate that there was a reason for the name in addition to the one stated explicitly. Okay. This comment of Rashi does not appear in the earlier printed editions. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so let's see, over the pit. Okay, so no comment on 33, and then we'll go on to 34.
Well, I'd make my own Beggars comment.
Okay.
That the name Reuven was also named for his grandmother Rivka, which started a tradition.
Huh. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Happened in my family.
Yeah. Now, I always wonder
So
why Rabbi Man always pronounced your name Reuven.
that's because of where he came from. Um, Reuven is just a simple, how is Ashken, not really Ashkenazic, but more, I guess,
Regional?
it's a regional thing
Yeah.
because where Rabbi Man would have been from, they would have added the extra hay.
Yeah,
So
because
that's why he always called
while
you.
looking at the way that it's actually put together, the two words Reu and Ben or Ben, yeah, it makes sense because he was actually pronouncing your name the way it would actually have been pronounced, Reuven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So it finally dawns on me. Okay, that's why he said it that way. Okay,
yep.
now I get it. Okay, thank you, Rabbi Man. Still teaching me after all these years.
That was a rabbi.
Yes, that was. That was. Miss him a lot.
Hmm.
Okay, so Lamed Gimel. Lag
Gimel.
Baomer, yeah, Lag. Verse 33. And she conceived again and bore a son and said, because Hashem has heard that I am unloved, he has given me this one also. And she called his name Shimon. Okay. Yeah, then we go into 34. Again, she conceived and bore a son and said, this time my husband will become attached to me, for I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore, he called his name Levi. My 3 sons? Okay. I got it. I got it. Okay, that was a little hard to swallow. Okay. Rashi goes on to say, this time my husband will become attached. Since the matriarchs were prophetesses, as we were talking about earlier, and knew that 12 tribes would emerge from Yaakov and that he would marry 4 wives, she said, from now on, Yaakov has no cause for complaint against me, for I have taken my full share of sons. I have produced my share of sons for him. Okay? So, therefore, anyone, i.e., any tribe of whom it was said, therefore, was numerous in population, except for Levi, for the ark would annihilate them.
Yes.
Excuse me.
That's never use.
Thank you. Toda. Let me wet my whisk towel there. Okay, so the commentary on that one is about the ark annihilate them. Bereshit Rabbah 71:4, the Leviim were entrusted with the carrying of the ark. Many of them would die because of it, because they would inadvertently treat it without the proper respect. Had they not had to care for the ark, they too would have become numerous. So,
Well, if I also might say, that was also divine revenge on what they will later do to the people of Shechem.
yeah. Yeah, true. That yeah, very well could be, yeah. Okay, so
I believe that's got something to do with it. I really do.
it may have. He called his name Levi. About all of the other sons, it is written, and she called But about this one, it is written, he called. And there is an Agedic Midrash in Devarim Rabbah, which explains on the next page that the Holy One, blessed is He, sent the angel Gabriel, and Gabriel brought the baby before him, and he called the baby by this name Levi, and he gave him the 24 gifts of the priesthood, because Gabriel accompanied him with gifts and called him Levi. Okay, so as far as, and he called, let's see, the Midrash in Devarim Rabbah, the further commentary says, this Midrash does not appear in our edition of Devarim Rabbah. Rabbi Shlomo Buber, in note 53 to his edition of Midrash Shechel Tov, Bereshit 29:34, says this Agedic Midrash was lost. A similar Agedic appears in Pirkei the Rabbi Eliezer, but speaks of the angel Michael, not Gabriel, bringing Levi before God after Yaakov's encounter with Esau's guardian angel. At that time, Esau's angel accused Yaakov of not fulfilling his promise. Whatever you give me, I shall tithe to you. For he had not set aside any of his 11 sons, Benjamin had not yet been born, as a tithe. Yaakov responded by assigning Levi as God's portion. So Michael brought Levi before God, who ordained that Levi receive the 24 gifts of the priesthood. Okay, the 24 gifts are enumerated in Bava Kama, folio 110b. So, Holy One,
Now, my comment,
okay, yeah.
my comment on that one is that's the beginning of the Pinyon Haben.
Oh,
the
yeah,
redemption of the first.
Okay, yeah.
Even though Levi was not a firstborn, but he had the redemption, where he paid the high priest,
Well,
or however many shekels.
that's a good point, because originally, put my bookmark in here so I don't forget where I'm at. Originally, all the firstborn were supposed to be the Kohanim and the Leviim, correct?
Correct.
That was the way it was. But because of the incident with the golden calf, then that passes from the firstborn to Levi, to the Kohanim and the Leviim.
Right.
And so the firstborn loses the right of priesthood, which is given to what the fourthborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this case.
In this case, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I just want to point that out. Also point out that an interesting thing is that if this was not, this wasn't Sephardim at the time, but the Sephardim continued the tradition. You've got Leah and you have Levi. The Sephardim have no issue with that. Ashkenazic Jews do. They don't like naming children after living relatives.
Oh, that's true. The Ashkenazim do not very typically do not name a child after a living relative, whereas the Sephardim and the Mizrahi don't have an issue with that.
Right.
Okay, so 35. She conceived again and bore a son and said, "This time I will give thanks to Hashem." Therefore she called his name Yehudah. Then she stopped giving birth. Rashi goes on to say, "This time I will give thanks, because I took more than my share. Now it is incumbent upon me to give thanks." So, the further commentary says, let's see, the name Levi is related to Lamed Vav Hey, to accompany. Okay. Since Yaakov had 4 wives and would have 12 sons, each wife would be expected to give birth to 3 sons. With her 4th son, Leah took more than her share. Rashi explains why it is not until this time, after the birth of the 4th son, that Leah thinks that she must give thanks. Someone as righteous as Rachel would not. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself on that. Okay, that's the next one. Okay, so we are now on to, this is going to be Perek Lamed, or chapter 30, and Pasuk Aleph, or verse 1. Okay. Rachel saw that she had not borne children to Yaakov, and Rachel became envious of her sister, and she said to Yaakov, "Give me children, if not, I am dead."
Here's where the sisterly thing starts to come in, because normally you would say a righteous woman wouldn't, be so jealous. But you have to remember, these people were human like us.
Well,
nobody here.
That's really the great thing about about the Torah, is that what we find out when we read about the patriarchs and the matriarchs and Moshe Rabbeinu and Joshua and all the others, we read that these guys are humans. They make mistakes. They don't do what they're supposed to do. And it really, it just kind of goes to show that, okay, well, you can goof up and you can make mistakes, but, at some point in time, you have the ability to rise above yourself to become a righteous individual, as we see in all the cases of the patriarchs and the matriarchs. But yeah, right. I mean, what we're seeing here is basically, this is this sibling rivalry between sisters, one sister being envious of the other, which is just, it's human nature, I mean, we see it even among these the Zadikim, the arguments and stuff that between. I thinking about the Shpola Zeta and Rabbi Nachman, who actually had a great falling out because of some information incorrectly given to the Shpola Zeta about something that Rabbi Nachman had said, and basically there was a huge. I mean, they actually came back together many years later, but there was a very, very terse relationship between two very great tzaddikim.
Well, look at Shammai, and then look at,
yeah, Hillel, Shammai.
You go all through it,
Yeah, so Rachel became envious of her sister. Rashi says she envied her good deeds. She said, "Were she not more righteous than I, she would have been worthy of bearing sons." The further commentary on this one says that someone as righteous as Rachel would not have envied another's good fortune. She envied her sister's righteousness. Interesting.
Okay.
The next phrase, "give me." Is this the way your father acted towards your mother? Did he not pray for her? Okay, the further commentary on this one says, Bereshit Rabbah 71:7, Rachel could not have demanded that Yaakov actually give her sons, for that was not in his power. She wanted him to pray for her. Okay, I am dead. From here we see, which every Jewish mother says, it's at some point in their life, right?
It also goes back to Isaiah 54. Sing, O barren, that thee did not bear children. Cry out loud. He's referring, to Rachel.
Yeah. Okay, so the verse, I am dead, from here we see about one who has no children, that he is considered as if he is dead. Now, we've seen this phrase come up a number of times. So the commentary on this one,
then,
this is derived from the verse. This is derived from the verse's use of "I am dead" rather than "I will die." So we have seen this before when Yaakov is running away from Esau, and Esau's son catches up to him, which we find in the Midrash, right? That he comes and he takes all of his possessions. He gives. Yaakov says, "Take everything I have. Then I'll have nothing, and if I have nothing, I'm considered as dead." That way, you can go back to your father Esau, and you can say, "Yes, he is dead." So this goes in the same vein as that.
Right.
Okay. You agree?
Well, I agree.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
No, I hadn't heard that midrash in a long time, but I remember it, and I don't disagree. It makes perfect sense,
Okay, so we'll go on to verse 2 then.
Yaakov.
Are you okay? Are you in any pain?
Not yet.
No, we're fine. We're good.
All right.
I'll bring you your medicine in a minute, okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yep.
So, verse 2, Yaakov's anger flared at Rachel, and he said, "Am I instead of God who has withheld from you fruit of the womb?" Fruit of the womb, not fruit of the loom.
Oh, I was going to say, isn't it an underwear company?
Barumpa. Okay. I had to beat you to the punch.
I know you did.
Okay, so Rashi says, "Am I instead of?" This means, am I in his place? Let's go back here. It does not mean I am beneath God, for Yaakov surely acknowledged that he is subservient to him. Okay. Who has withheld from you? You said that I should act like Father, but I am not like Father. Father did not have sons, and I do have sons. From you he has withheld children, but not from me. Okay, further commentary on me. Boy, that's a pretty harsh statement. The further commentary on this one, it is obvious that God had withheld children from Rachel. Yaakov mentions this to point out to her the difference between their situation and that of his father Yitzhak. Yaakov did not pray that Rachel bear children because she was by nature sterile. Praying for her to bear children would have been improper, for one does not pray for a miracle. Rachel brought the example of Yitzhak, who prayed for Rivka, although she was sterile. But Yaakov countered that Yitzhak was an exceptional case, for he had not yet fulfilled the commandment to procreate. Therefore, he was allowed to pray even for a miracle to fulfill that commandment. In Rashi's comment to verse 3, he mentioned that Rachel argued that Abraham prayed that Sarah bear children, although he already had fathered Ishmael. Yaakov responded that case was also exceptional, for Sarah had an unusual merit of having brought a rival wife into her household to bear children for her husband. Whew.
Okay, my commentary is that they may have also been talking about Laban because Laban did not have, boys.
That's true. He
You know,
did not have sons. Yeah.
he had, he had no sons. So, even though it's his father, we don't know which one we really don't know which one she's talking about.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I hadn't thought about that. If he had had sons, Rachel wouldn't have been tending the sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that we don't know for certain which father she was talking about
Right.
because that could apply to either one.
Okay.
You can be sure if Laban prayed, it would have been for money and then for a son.
Yeah. Okay, so verse 3, she said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Come to her, that she may bear upon my knees, and I too will be built up through her." Okay. Rashi says, "Upon my knees." This is to be understood as Targum Onkelos renders it, "and I will raise the children she will bear, and I too will be built." What is meant by two? And I too will be built. She said to him, "Your grandfather Abraham, his son from Hagar, yet he girded his loins opposite Sarah. He said to her, my grandmother brought her rival wife into her house. She said to him, if this thing is preventing my bearing children, here is my maid Bilhah, and I too may be built up like Sarah." Okay, so let's get caught up on this. Yaakov said, "You cannot compare my situation." Oh, okay, we already read that one. Okay. Dalet, final nun, often connotes judgment accompanied by punishment. In example 49:16 below, Rashi there, Sever Zikaron, based on Bereshit Rabbah, some contemporary editions of Rashi read, Danani. He had judged me and found me guilty and acquitted me. However, this verse does not appear in any of the early printings, and it was not known to the major commentators. Okay, so we'll go, there's no commentary on 4 or 5, so we'll go right to 6. So she gave Bilhah, her maidservant, as a wife to Yaakov, and Yaakov came to her. Bilhah conceived and bore Yaakov a son. Verse 6, then Rachel said, God has judged me. He has also heard my voice and has given me a son. Therefore, she called his name Dan. Okay. Rashi says, God has judged me. He has judged me and acquitted me. And that's all the commentary that he has on that.
Okay, well, here's another interesting midrash.
Yeah.
Because she's using the word "God has judged me," and what famous judge came from the tribe of Dan?
Oh, Dinah.
Another one.
Devorah.
Another one.
Who?
Samson.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a woman. I'm sorry. Okay. Shimson.
Samson was a judge
Yeah.
in the book of Judges, and he came from Rachel and Bilhah. Well, not Rachel, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He came from Yaakov and Bilhah. So so then he was a Danite. So
Yeah.
so the Danites were strong. They were strong people.
They were very strong, hence why God put them at the back of the children of Israel when they were coming through the wilderness as a rear guard to protect them from an
Yep.
attack at the rear. They also gathered up
Yep.
all the lost and the stragglers. Yeah, and
Yep.
then they actually Dan's region was on a border that was a very active border. Where they were constantly being attacked. I mean, Dan was a very very powerful tribe. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, but they were given the honor because that was technically Rachel's, first, surrogate.
Uh huh.
Let's point that out.
Now,
Interesting
wasn't
with
wait? It
because
is
he's the judge.
somebody is
Yeah,
buried in the region of Dan. Is it
yeah.
Aharon is buried in the region of Dan, or is it Moshe is buried in his
We
one of
don't
the
know
two
where
is buried there, huh?
it's Dan. No, we know where Aaron is buried because they celebrate his tomb. We don't know where Moshe's buried.
Well, we don't know
We
the
don't know.
location. We know the region where he
We,
was buried, though.
we know the reason, but we don't know where Mount Moriah is. We don't know or Mount Sinai, which one of the two he was buried in. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know where Aaron's tomb is because they still have people go to it.
That's very true. Okay, well, we have come to the end of our time for tonight. Reb Reuven, if you will, Reb
Yes,
Reuven,
see y'all later.
and okay, okay. So I have to go here first. There we go, and then I have to go here. There we go. Okay, so now that we finished. ברקת אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו ברקת אדוני נותן התורה. Okay, I want to thank everybody for being here with us and make sure I didn't miss anybody who came in. Hope you will be with us. This Shabbat is Shabbat Mevarachim. It is the Sabbath before the new month. So Rabbi Shlomo Nachman will be conducting services this Shabbat, Friday night, Kabbalat and Mariv Shabbat service at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then Shabbat morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for, what's that, Parsha Mishpatim, isn't it? Anyway, okay. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Until the next time, we will say, Laila Tov.